Hello. To be honest, I have no idea what I'm doing with this video. It's the Lord of the Rings release anniversary for Fellowship of the Ring, specifically America. I almost messed up because I thought got the date wrong, but no, I'm right. So what I planned to do was I was going to do a brief summary of the entire history of Lord of the Rings and Middle-earth. But then someone said, hey, what if you did the voices of characters from Lord of the Rings? And I was like, that sounds pretty interesting. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to do both. I'm going to do the first half of this video is going to be me doing a brief summary of the entirety of Lord of the Rings. And then the second half, I'm going to do voices of characters that are only in Lord of the Rings. They're not going to be there isn't going to be Bilbo, of course, makes sense. But characters that I don't know, just characters in Lord of the Rings, to be honest. So, let's start. In the very, very beginning, there was absolutely nothing. It was kind of boring. But there was this one guy. There was this one guy called Eru Iluvatar. He's basically God, And, it's kind of boring there, so he makes a bunch of guys, a bunch of friends, which are called Maiar and Valar, and they make up as the Ainur, or just a bunch of gods. And there are 14 Valar. One of them is called Melkor. He's kind of a rebel. He doesn't really stick with the group much. He's kind of, Then they sang. They had a big song. It was a musical. Confirmed Lord of the Rings is a musical. I'm just kidding. But yeah, and Melkor was he didn't play along with it because he's a Dumbo. I don't know. But yeah, and then that happened, and then the entire world of Arda was created. So, a long time passes. Plants are made, animals are made, but there are no elves, man, or dwarves, or hobbits, or anything like that. There is none of that yet. So there are two towers, which they create the light cycles of the world of Arda. They are the sun and moon in, it's just it's what they had for light back then. And then one day, the Melkor, was so evil, he was just like, I don't like the towers. So he destroyed one of them, and then he was forever renamed as Morgoth, the first Dark Lord. And he converted a lot of bad guys to his side. Most of the Maiar that joined him became Balrogs, which Maiar are they're kind of like demigods. They're not as powerful as Valar, but they're still powerful. But one Maiar joined that was really powerful, and he was known as Sauron. So we'll get back to Sauron later, though. So a big war happens, and Morgoth loses, and the world of Arda is destroyed. It used to be really perfect and symmetrical, and now it's what you know as Middle-earth today. And there's this big crescent on the left side of the world of Arda that is known as Valinor, and it's perfect, and no one dies there, and there's no sickness. It's perfect. So Morgoth is bad. He gets destroyed, but not fully because he can't really kill a god. So he escapes, and then he builds his fortress of Autumno in the north. After some time, a lot of things happen, but some major important things. One, dwarves are created before elves, but Eru didn't really want that to happen because he liked elves and man the most. So he was like, oh, well, now you gotta kill him, because the person who made them was Aule, master craftsman. And Eru was like, no, we can't have those. No, we need to have elves first. He's like, but I made these. And it's like, nope, kill him. It's like, well, fine. And right before he's about to kill him, the dwarves are like, oh no, we don't want to die. And he's like, Eru was like, wait, these are actually kind of cool. We're gonna keep these, but you can't bring them out yet. All right, we gotta let the elves come out first, then you can bring out the dwarves. With that news, I believe Aule's wife, Yavanna, who made all of the plants and animals, made the Ents, because she was like, well, if your dwarves are going to be stone people, I'm going to make tree people so that they'll kill stone people. Because, get wrecked. And it was But she also made two trees. there was the golden tree and the silver tree. These replaced the towers to make light, and they were very loved by everyone. Everyone loved these trees because they were just so cool. They were like the sun and moon, you know? But Morgoth, being Morgoth, was like, ugh, these are stupid. You know, he didn't like the trees. But after that, the elves came, and everyone was like, oh yeah, the elves. Some elves stayed in Middle-earth. Others came with the Maiar to Valinor. And one of them among them was Feanor. He is like the most edgy of elves, and he was really good at crafting stuff. So he made the Silmarils, which are very powerful jewels. There are 3 of them. And of course, Morgoth heard of this and he was like, oh my gosh, these Silmarils are so cool. I'm going to be so powerful when I get these. And he was like, I got to get them. So what he did was he talked to a creature from the void, which is everything that is Arda, everything outside of that is the void. And Ungoliant is a creature of the void, which is undescribable horrors and cosmic mythos of horrors. It's just a bunch of stuff you don't want to talk about. But Ungoliant she took the form of a giant spider, so you already know some messed up stuff's about to happen. So what happened was, Ungoliant joins forces with Morgoth, snuck down to Valinor, took the sap from the trees, became absolutely humongous, and wanted to take the Silmarils and eat those too. Morgoth was like, no, these are mine. And so she almost eats him, but then Morgoth cries out for his Balrogs, and then the Balrogs save him, and Ungoliant flees away into Middle-earth, where she later gives birth to Shelob, who almost eats Frodo, but then Sam hurts her so much that she runs away. But I digress. After that, the trees are dead, so everyone's like, oh no, we need new light source. And so they make the sun and moon, which are celestial bodies, in a way. They orbit around the Earth, or Arda, but, you know, and technically Arda is flat. I know that might be hard to believe, but Arda is flat in this world, so deal with it. After the sun and moon are made, what happens? Oh yeah, Feanor tries to get back the Silmarils, because they're his and he wants them back, so he's like, I'm gonna go get back the Silmarils, and he's like, okay dude, whatever. Some elves join him, some don't. Most actually don't join him. So they try and go get the Silmarils. Most of them fail. He eventually dies when he reaches Middle-earth, and a lot of war happens. Eventually man comes, and elves don't like man because they're not immortal. But since they're not immortal, they're not tied to the creation of this world, so they're not permanently bound to the magic, so they can do whatever they want and be totally okay. What happens after that? Some time passes. There is Beren and Luthien, which I have not read the story yet, but I do know that they give birth to some offspring that later becomes Arwen and Arathorn, which, like, they are very, 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 very distantly related, Arwen and Arathorn. So it's fine. It's fine. But yeah. Oh, there is the city of Numenor. Right. So Morgoth, he tries to take over and, like, destroy all the elves and stuff. He fails and gets captured and gets locked away forever. But his second-in-command, Sauron, which people didn't know Sauron was his second-in-command, so he stayed secretly a secret Dark Lord. Lots of secrets going on, you know? And he went to the elves, disguised as Anatar, Lord of Gifts, and he forged with them, with the master forger Celebrimbor, a set of 3 rings for 3 master elves. Now, lots of light bulbs are going off right now. So he forged the rings for the elves. Now, what set Morgoth and Sauron apart was that Morgoth was a master military genius. He was very powerful, but Sauron, while not being as powerful as the Valar, was a master of cunning. He was a master of wit. He was able to command legions upon legions of orcs because he was very psychically powerful. he could command them just through his mind, So what he did was these rings did increase their longevity and their prosperousness of the cities and the people of the elves, but it was a double-edged sword because it also made them much weaker to his psychic attacks through his mind. So when they put the rings on, they were like, oh, this is so cool. But also there were... Actually, no, the 3 rings were crafted in secret by Celebrimbor, because they made 16 lesser rings, and they just kept those, because elves didn't really want to give anything to dwarves or man, because they thought they were stupid and stinky, which is fair. I mean, elves are like the epitome of all of the races. That could have gone really badly in the book then. Whatever. So, 16 lesser rings, Celebrimbor forges 3 secret rings, but Sauron then takes Celebrimbor, tortures him, and he gets the 16 lesser rings, but is not able to reveal the 3 greater rings that the elves have taken. But then, Sauron forges his Master Ring, which, when he puts it on, it makes his psychic attack way more powerful. So if you have a ring that... If you have a ring that makes your psychic attack really powerful, and you have rings of others that are wearing that make their psychic defense really weak, that's going to be a bad time, because then he's just going to control all of the high powerful elves, and so he basically has control of all of Middle-earth. But right as he puts his ring on, the elves realize what he's doing and just take off their rings just in time, so they're okay. Of course, understandably, Sauron gets a little mad at this, so he tries to corrupt different races. So he takes 7 rings and goes to the dwarves, the 7 dwarf lords. He gives it to them, but realizes that the dwarves are not very smart. Well, they're smart, but in the sense that they are very fixed in their ideals and personality, so you can't really control them. They have a strict code that they just follow. A clockwork race, if you will. However, it did not help because the rings later made them so greedy and powerful that they took so much gold that it would later lead to dragons who would eat them in the rings, and then the rings would be lost for time. But we then come to men, the most corruptible of all races. With 9 rings, he gave them to the 9 rings of kings, and he corrupted them like, bam, done. So he corrupted the race, corrupted the kings, and that led to the ring race, which are the coolest villains, I must say. Though the Balrogs are definitely more powerful, but... Also, we don't know how many Balrogs there were, because some stories might have accounted for hundreds of Balrogs, while some, at most, there could have been a minimum of 7 Balrogs, of which we know named 2 or 3, because we know there's Gothmog, who is the leader of all Balrogs. There's Durin's Bane, which you know from Lord of the Rings. He was, Durin's Bane. He was at the Bridge of Khazad-dûm. And then there was another Balrog who I believe defeated Fëanor, who was a elf who was the son of Fëanor, of Finrod, who was the son of Fëanor. But, yeah, tangent. Oh my gosh. I just realized how much of a tangent I go on when I talk about Lord of the Rings. Anyway, after he corrupts the race of men, it then goes to their sons, So time passes, and then there is the War of the Ring, where elves and men, the last alliance of elves and man, try to treach upon the land of Mordor. There is a 7-year-long siege in which, after Sauron comes out trying to fight, and Isildur cuts off the ring from his hand after his father dies, and most believe, he gets the ring. He's so close to destroying it, but then, like men, he's corrupted, he runs away, and then he later gets shot by arrows from an orc near the river Anduin, so he was dead. The line of kings was broken, or so they thought, and then 500 years pass, and, actually no, yeah, because it was that was the Second Age. Okay, yeah, no. So like 2 to 3,000 years pass, then Gollum gets it, and then 500 years pass from then, and then we begin the story of Lord of the Rings, where, of course, Bilbo gets the ring, Gollum gets angry, Frodo gets the ring from Bilbo, he goes on the journey, destroys the ring, Aragorn gets the crown of Numenor and Gondor back, yada yada yada. We all know the story of Lord of the Rings. I was trying to digress on the preamble of Lord of the Rings. But I'd say that's a general gist of the story, I guess. If you have any questions about what happens during the middle, or like the beginning of Middle-earth, please ask. I've always wanted to answer questions of Lord of the Rings. That's like my favorite thing to do. But I believe now is the time to do voices of characters. So I gotta start with my absolute pinnacle of favorites of voices to do, which is Treebeard. Treebeard, he is known as very slow and very not hasty. He is an ant. He is no tree. That's what I just... It's such an interesting voice, because you gotta think, how do you voice a tree? Like, there's not really anything you can do there. Which, fun fact, the voice actor for Treebeard is John Rhys-Davies, who is the actor who plays Gimli. Which is, it's Gimli! Don't toss a dwarf, But yeah, that's just really interesting, the way he thought about how would you voice a tree? Well, a tree is very slow, very deep, very hearty. He is one of nature, It's just such a cool process to think about. By the way, if you haven't watched the extended edition, deleted scene, or not deleted, the behind the scenes cuts, they are so funny, but so cool. Did you know Viggo Mortensen, the guy who played Aragorn? Oh my gosh, I said Arathorn in the beginning, near somewhere in the video, and I meant to say Aragorn. Oh my gosh, I'm such an idiot! Sorry, I'm just being an idiot. Whatever. Where was I? I've lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, Viggo Mortensen, the guy who played Aragorn. He would just fish on set. He would just, oh, guys, we're taking a 30-minute break. And it's all right. And he takes out a fishing rod and just goes fishing in a river. That is so cool. What other characters are there? There's Sauron, but okay, well, I was about to be but I don't know anything he said. I'm I do know what he says. I know the exact ring speech and some quotes from the movies. But, it's really raspy and loud, and I don't want to do that, because it's late. I don't know. What other characters? There's Saruman. There is Saruman. He's a very deep and elegant voice. One you should not trifle with. A wizard of utmost importance. Who is, of course, voiced by Christopher Lee. God rest in peace, who was an amazing actor, sadly. What is there? There's Denethor, who's a very, cunning, not cunning, he's like Grima Wormtongue in a sense, just with more power. No, Grima Wormtongue was an advisor who just twisted his word. Grima Wormtongue was just a man who twisted his words with a way of fate. Got what he wanted whenever he wanted it, by simply... I don't know what Grima Wormtongue... Well, I do know what Grima Wormtongue did, but I can't say it eloquently enough to make it sound good. I don't know, Grima Wormtongue's cool. In case you don't know, throughout my day, I just out of nowhere start doing random voices. I'm just chilling by the fridge, just looking inside, I want some chicken. I just do random voices for no reason. And I will not be, I'm not ashamed of it. It's just a fact. I'm honestly running out of ideas of what to do right now. Any other characters I could voice? Any other characters that I have wanted to voice? Well, see, there's Treebeard, and then there's Grima, and then there's Gimli, kind of Sauron. Oh yeah, there is the Witch King, but he's just kind of like, screech, like, Well, that was more like a pig. that was just like a pig. I honestly think that this video is just done. I've done what I've come to do, which is just, it's the anniversary of Lord of the Rings. I'm gonna recap the story and do some voices, which I've done that, so therefore I'm done. But I did enjoy it. I went into my element, which I don't often do, but I hope you enjoyed. I hope you guys enjoyed the insane ramblings of a man who enjoys Lord of the Rings way too much. Other than that, I hope you all have a good day. Have a wonderful Christmas if you are, or just a wonderful time in the season, or just enjoy experiencing life. It's really hard to include everybody, like there are some people who celebrate Hanukkah, some people who celebrate Christmas, some people who don't celebrate, some people who don't like the holidays, some people who don't like the winter, some people who don't have winter. There's just a lot of things to consider. So just enjoy yourself to the most you can during this time. And, I hope you all have a good day. Bye-bye.